Hello and welcome to the Car Sim and Race Driver Show with me, Hugh Hattrick, and my very special co-host, Andrew Marr.
Hello, everybody.
Well, it's been a pretty eventful week, really, in terms of motor racing, isn't it? We had the Hungarian Grand Prix that ended up being, Hamilton dominated that quite easily. But there's been quite a lot of other stuff going on with motorsport news as well. That there's the Nürburgring is similarly in with a chance of getting a Grand Prix.
Oh, I've not heard that actually. That's new news for me. Excellent. Good.
There's also Imola is going to. I think Imola's in the lineup potentially.
Oh, finally! Because I put some comments on their Instagram account when they were talking about they had like the calendar. This is happening. This is happening. And I noticed there was a gap after the two current Italian ones, and I went, "Oh look, there's a good gap there."
Yeah.
For Imola.
Yeah.
So maybe they've read my statement and thought, yeah, he's right. Never mind everybody else. That guy, he's right.
Yep. So Imola is similarly a strong possibility that's going to be added to the calendar.
Any idea when, or is it
in September time? I think end of August, September time. It's got, or maybe it's October actually. There's going to be another three header one. You know, the kind of when they do one after the other for 3 up in following weeks. So that could be pretty decent actually. And then we've got there's Ant. I could see it's coming up that somebody was watching us. Good to see you, Ant. That we'll have to eventually have you on the show. I think he deserves a place. He's been that loyal. He deserves to be a host on the show.
You know, we were talking about alternative names, and Ant came up with one, and I had a few ideas, and one of them involved his name. Because you know, I go on about. I often have a rant. It could be 3 men and our ant, which, if you say it right, it is a rant.
Yeah, so 3 men and our ant. Yeah.
It's awful, but I thought it was quite funny for a minute.
But he's been very loyal. We have to appreciate that. He deserves some form of prize.
He knows his stuff, even though he's from Stoke.
But yeah, so no, it's been a pretty good week. And the other Grand Prix that is potentially coming is Portofino, which is in Portugal. The new track. It's a new track. It's just outside of Lisbon, I think.
Okay.
I think it's just outside there because it used to be in Estoril.
Yeah.
You know, the funny thing was, there was a story on the internet a few years ago about a family who had gone on holiday to Portugal, and they weren't really motor racing people at all. They were familiar with the Grand Prix, but that was about it. And they happened to stumble across the old Estoril track. Now, seemingly, it wasn't being used very much at all, because Portugal was really affected by the Euro crisis. So I think they lost a lot of money, and they were struggling to do much at all. I think maybe MotoGP had possibly used Estoril.
I think it did,
yeah. But they happened to stumble across the racetrack, and they were able to get inside. It must have been open, or there must have been a caretaker there who said, if you want to have a little look around, we'll let you have a look around. So they were able to go and have, I don't think they got onto the track as such. But what an amazing thing. You're on holiday and you just have to stumble across the racetrack. That's like something out of Top Gear. It was like, But it's going to be in Portofino, which is a new track. Only been built, I think, for a few years ago.
Okay.
So it's looking at Imola.
Well, Portugal's a beautiful place, isn't it? It's just
lovely. Yeah, it's on the Algarve. It's Circuit of the Algarve, I think they call it.
The Algarve, and it's that's a nice place. It's a little bit different to what do they all say when they go to Spa? You have to sort of camp in a tent somewhere. And it won't be like that in the Algarve, will it? And if you don't have to camp, it won't matter. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say about going on holiday and having an interesting time. One of the best things I ever read was back in the days when I used to read Car Magazine in the sort of early to mid 90s. As he had his ears low. And it was written by a reader. Every now and again, they let a reader write something when they wrote something really good. Yeah. And it was a holiday. This guy, they went to northern Italy. And this guy's a car guy, and his wife wasn't a car girl. So he got a day where he was going to go to the Ferrari Museum, you've mentioned, and he was going to go to Lamborghini, and he was going to go, because in those days it was there, to the Bugatti factory. So he goes to Ferrari and was very disappointed because basically it was the cars in the factory and get lost. It's just like, in those days, Ferrari were better than everybody else, and it was very Enzo-ish in the sort of, we don't care if you're customers or whatever, it doesn't matter, just go away. So he went to Lamborghini, and it was in the days when the Diablo was their car. Valentin, he gets shown around the factory. I mean, he's just a bloke. He's not like a millionaire. He's shown for half a day around the factory, taken out, and there's wined and dined and looked after and met Valentino, is it Balboni?
The test
and all this kind of stuff. Great. Then he goes to Bugatti. He thought he'd had a good time in Lamborghini. He goes to Bugatti. Again, he's shown around the factory. He's looked after. He's treated like a king. Goes out the back, and there's a Bugatti Veyron. Not Veyron. Sorry, EB110. That mad quad turbo 3.5 litre V12 with 4-wheel drive and active aero and all that. It's just a nuts car, wasn't it? I love it. And this guy goes, "Do you want to go?" It's like, so not to drive. He was being driven by the test driver. They had their little track there. So this guy goes around this test track, and he sat there thinking, "Well, I suppose I couldn't expect to be driven fast. You know, it's been an amazing day." Anyway, the guy gets, "Right, everything's warm now." He was just warming the car up. He thought he was just being pooped around. No, he was warming everything up, ready for going 90 mile an hour around these bends like that. He was taken around a few times. You get out the car and go, I mean, that's a day and a half, that is. And all free. None of it. He wasn't paying to get it. He had to pay to get into the Ferrari Museum. But he didn't have to pay for anything else. It was all free.
That's amazing, isn't it?
He was a very happy... I've never forgotten that. There's like 4 articles in the history of Car Magazine I've never forgotten, and that's one of them.
Car Magazine was... I used to get Car Magazine years ago, and then I got a subscription about maybe 5 years ago. But I used to have some of the 2000 edition, the special edition. I've still got some of them. Because they were really well written. I mean,
yes, it was like reading a novel, wasn't it? It was superb.
It was like, and it was proper vocabulary as well. I mean, you look at, I have to say, Autosport's terrible for some of the reports and some of these cars. They can't even write. They can't get a comma anywhere or a full stop.
That's gone down the hill. That really has. Autosport. I used to subscribe to Autosport, and it was great. And then I was reading some of the articles, because you were talking about how you subscribed. Yeah. And I thought, well, it was a good all-round.
Yeah,
Motorsports mag.
Yeah, but it's not great.
Rubbish.
It's very basic, and some of the writers are quite biased, actually, in some ways. I think but yeah, so no, it's quite interesting.
The Car Magazine went down the drain, and then I think they got the guy. Remember the Irish guy on Driven with the glasses? He went in upon Top Gear trying to revitalise that. So they tried to make Top Gear like Driven, and it's like, oh, you can't copy that. That was unique, which is why it worked. You can't just do the same here. I was so surprised. And he ended up being the editor, and it was rubbish.
Yeah. I was so surprised that they cancelled Driven, because Driven was going really well. It was Mike Brewer, the guy from JJ, what's his name? Oh, not Sofer. What was it? The touring car driver.
Plato.
Jason Plato.
Plato came in to replace the Irish guy. The Irish guy left for Top Gear, and then Pluto, as I call him, came in.
Yeah, and your favourite ladies world champion,
Penny Mallory, the lovely. She's now a motivational speaker, apparently. She gave a thumbs up to me, saying how brilliant she was on Driven on one of her YouTube videos. That made my day.
Yeah, no, she was good though. I mean, it was genuinely a great show, and the thing is, I love the way they would bring the cars into the showroom, and they got that before Top Gear did, and they had a crowd of people in. They would talk about the cars, do all this stuff, and kind of involve people a bit more, and then had really quite realistic tests, quite fun tests.
Well, they designed a format where they were trying to find out about the motor in its entirety. So there was quality, there was whether people like it, which is when they got the people in and asked them what they thought. Yeah. There was the handling test, which was always superb because it was an S-bend at 50. Yeah. So in other words, if you were on a normal road, you would see how the car would behave because you do the speed you would find you did, and oh my goodness, a heavy bend's come up. What do I do? You find out whether it was safe. Great. And some of the best things I saw were on that because Penny Mallory did it.
Yeah, and she went for it.
My favourite one there was 3 I can remember bizarrely. One of them was People Carriers, and he had this really bizarre. It's kind of like seeing the split personality of Penny Mallory. Superb fast driver and a mum.
Yeah.
So she's in a People Carrier doing the handling test. Talking about how it's unstable and slides and there's no grip and it understeers and this kind of stuff. But then she talks about the practicality about how you wouldn't be able to fit your kids in the back and there's nowhere to put anything. And you're like going,
I'm wondering.
I don't get it.
Do you think, as you've commented on our videos, do you think Penny Mallory might come on our show? She might be, maybe. It's maybe worth an ask. Because sometimes, some of these, if they're really down to earth and they're kind of quite happy to do these things, they might just...
Well, as you know, Louise, I bet she knows Louise, and you know Louise.
Yeah, she'll do. Yeah. I'm trying to chase that up, actually.
You get Louise on, I wonder whether Penny would come on. Because she was also a superb presenter. She was really good at actually presenting as well, wasn't she?
Yeah.
She did the Channel 4 when they did rally driving. She did that as well. And it's like when Tony Mason used to do it on the Beeb.
Aye. Tony Mason was brilliant.
Well, he was Clarkie's co-driver. He was the last winner of the Lombard RSC Rally. He knew what he was talking about, even when he wasn't having snow shoved down his back like he did that time. Yeah. And she was like that. She spoke with authority, and that's what you need. The fact that she's stunningly attractive has got very little to do with it, really.
Well, you better make sure she doesn't see this video, otherwise she did.
Oh yeah. By the way, Penny, we think you're ugly. No, she's not. She's gorgeous, and she's brilliant, and she's clever, and she's talented, and I've got no problem with her being able to drive faster than me. Not at all. I'm not one of those blokes. I'm not like you. Jealous of your son, better than you already.
She'll be quite pleased or relieved that it's done over the internet. You know.
Oh yeah, I don't remember stalking. Hello, Penny. You're right. You're pretty. No, I'm not that kind of guy.
But
the chat. I mean, honestly, if I got, do you want to go on a date? It'd be like. Women.
See Rue Drool. It says there. Andrew said, "See Rue drool."
Rue drool. Is that Rue's rules? Is he always drools? No. Okay, that's terrible.
But no, that would be something. Well, I'll try and chase up Louise Kamoka, because now that the rules have relaxed a bit, it might be easier to get her on the show. To be fair, but that was the next thing I was going to come to. Actually,
okay.
I put it obviously on my Facebook page, but some people won't have seen it. But I gave my son a chance.
Yes, I saw that. I saw the video.
And what was amazing was he actually stayed on the track.
They put him in an F-150 pickup truck. You Eve. I mean, it's like going, right, we want you to do really well there, son. By the way, this is a great car. I see you give him one with the worst steering, the worst handling, the worst grip. And but he stayed on the road. Well, in your face, hat-trick. In your face.
The thing was, he wanted something that was a bit slower. So that was easy.
It's got a 4.4 litre V8 in the front. Slow is relative, mate. But it's got the handling of a whale.
Well, that's why it was a bit slower to kind of get around a bend and a bit easier. But he managed it.
Sherlock.
When you see him come into the first corner at Brands Hatch, the car slides, right? It goes into oversteer. And he actually corrected it.
Counter steering.
Yeah, I was amazed. He did it all by himself.
And unlike me, if I'd been doing it, he wasn't going like that. He was actually just in the middle.
Because he learned himself. He says, I'm going to start slowly and then build up, you see. Because before he would knock off the walls when he used to play it with us on the green pad. But
gets his sense off his man then.
Yeah, but it's...
I've seen videos of you driving. Well, there you go then.
But no, that was the thing.
Is she really?
She's an advanced driver.
Oh, she's one of them, is she?
Yeah. People who are advanced drivers will tend to have bigger crashes.
Does she smoke a pipe?
No.
Because I thought that was part of the test. Don't you have to sit in the car? Flat cap with the gloves on, with the little holes on the back. That would be a great portrait. Flat cap, the string back gloves, what do they call them, and a pipe.
Yeah. I've also thought of a new competition for us as well.
Oh no!
For our viewers, we're going to have to get a mug, the Car Sim and Race Driver mug.
That kind of mug. Sorry,
our drive fast, don't crash bit on it. And I think
get one with our photos on it and call it Mugs on a Mug.
Yeah, and for the person who makes the best comment, we would we'll give them a mug.
It's going to be get off. It's going to be Eric Morecambe going get off.
I didn't say that the only person who makes a comment, but the best comment. Otherwise, Ant's going to get one every week.
Where's John? John should be making comments now as well. Where are you, John?
Oh, we've had a like on Facebook. Fantastic. That's brilliant. I was going to say that I could change the banner here, and I could say, let's see if we can get 10 likes on YouTube. That would be amazing. That would be. Tell all your friends about the great show.
Log in 10 times. It's 10 different people, and click like.
Now, there's a great race on this week. If you've got Gran Turismo, it's the minis. You can race a 1965 Mini Cooper against a brand new Mini Cooper S of 2005. And you've got to go around the Brands Hatch Indy circuit.
You're going to win.
Well, it's
in the old one, because that's got real handling instead of the new one, which is very nice, but isn't a mini. They should have called it the Maxi.
Well,
because it's that size.
The old one is actually more powerful, and obviously it's lighter, but it's quite a lot harder to handle. And so all the best times have been set with the new one because it's just a bit better. It's a bit, I think, the wider track means it's a lot easier to handle the circuit. But it's great fun, and I've actually done. I'm almost an A-level driver now. I only need, I think, something like.
Is this the old A-levels or the new A-levels? Because they're different.
This is for Gran Turismo. You go up the levels on the Gran Turismo. You start off at E. And
because the new A levels are pretty much the same as the old O levels, frankly.
No, it's got nothing to do with education or school. This is the levels on.
So they've not copied the British education system for their A levels. Oh, right.
No, it's to do with.
Just shows you how so far it's gone. Carry on.
So when you start off at E level driver for your driver rating, and
from Yorkshire.
Yeah. And then, see, that's where Jonathan started, and now he's a C and a B driver, I think. So he's still got a bit to go on his rating, or maybe he's an S on his driver rating, or sporting racing. So you go up and go up and go up. But you need 30,000 points to get into A. And I'm literally on like 29,800 or something, or thereabouts. So I'm almost at the cusp, and I played Gran Turismo quite a bit the other night, and I won two races, and I got 2 seconds at Brands Hatch. So I did quite a good time there. So it's a really good race. It's quite tough, but it's hard, but it's fun. And it's I'm hoping that I can get to the A level, because then that means I'm getting into the kind of higher echelons of Gran Turismo. It's A, then A plus, and then S. So it's still a bit to go, but I reckon it's doable. And then we'll really kind of try and get up there. Because I've been on the B and S level for far too long, and people make fun of that because they say BS all the time. And so that's the pun. So actually, I need to get into it. I'm an ass instead of BS. So which is probably reasonably accurate. So that's where it goes. But it's a very good race, actually. It's great fun, and I've really enjoyed that. And then there's also another one in Dragon Tail Gardens Reverse, which is tough, but it's another good track. So I'm quite enjoying that. But I haven't played Assetto Corsa for a few weeks now, actually, so I need to get back into that and see how we go. But I was so amazed at how well my son did doing the Gran Turismo. I was really impressed with that. It was quite fun.
Did you get my little comment I made about it looking like Richard Hammond sat on cushions?
Yeah, he does.
Racing car?
And when he's faster than me, that's going to be really embarrassing to be saying I've been beaten by a 7-year-old. Or an 8-year-old, whatever it might be.
Happens all the time. I mean, look, Max Verstappen's beating everybody else, and he's only about 12, isn't he? 13?
Yeah.
No.
But you know, the funny thing is, when I've been doing a few meetings, obviously sometimes because people know I do race, they see the pictures in the background, and I tell them I've got a sim rig. So I sometimes show them the picture just of the play seat and the steering wheel and things, and they all love it. I mean, immediately folk are saying, "Oh, we need to come round and have a go on that." You know, it's just like so. There's obviously this is the latest. You know, the tech has moved on, and people are ready to have a go and they want to.
Oh yeah, I mean, when we first started talking about these sim racing, I'm like going, what? And then, because I didn't know what sim racing was, and then I was talking about how I reckon that the way that all the steering wheel, the pedals, everything worked wasn't right for me, you know. And it seems like it is now, you know. What I remembered as being these pedals and steering wheels were just pointless. But now it looks pretty good. So, you know.
Well, let me show in our viewers as well. I'll show you what it's like, because these are actually pretty good, I have to admit. I will go into here and we will share that one. Is it coming up there?
Yes.
So there you see. So these are proper ones, and they're only 550 quid. And this is the one that was one of the guys recently did a review of this, and it looks amazing. So it's really solid, and it moves. So, you know, it's like a car seat. So it's got a metal bit underneath, so you can adjust the seating position really easily. And I mean, I think that's actually really quite good. So it's £549. And you can adjust it. You can put all your wheels on it. But I mean, that is the lady that did the review got a mat as well. So I mean, it's amazing what you get. But a lot of these ones have you know, a lot of the main drivers actually use these, and you know, they're handcrafted, as you see there. I mean, look at that. It looks like you spent thousands of pounds on it. You know, when you think about it, it's a proper fiberglass racing seat as well. So, and it's quite wide, so it allows folk who are a wee bit bigger. So, and so
so you don't have to go into a fitness regime just to fit in the seat.
Exactly. So we're allowed in. I'm allowed in it. I can fit in that one.
Crack. Oops. What was that? Have you broke that seat? No, it was my hips. So pelvis. Had to crush your pelvis to get in.
But no, because it's quite interesting, because I looked at the one between my one, which is the Play Seat Challenge, which is probably the cheapest on the market, just about, and it's quite a tight thing. And also the bars are quite small; it's quite thin. On the track racer, it's about more than twice the width of it all. It feels like you're in a proper rig, and it's steady. It doesn't, because this one you have to have a stabilizer on the side, and that just stops it in case you put a bit too much effort in, and it feels a bit unsteady. Although I've never felt that, to be fair. It's always been quite reasonable, but this new one is brilliant. So I think that would be an amazing one to get. And really, once you've got that, you only need the pedals and wheels, which are about 150 quid, depending what you get, and then your screen. So you can do the whole thing along with a PlayStation or a PC for probably not much more than maybe £1,000, or 1,100-1,200 quid. But you know,
I won't say that my second Saab 9000 cost 500 quid.
But it's not bad. I think it's an impressive setup, to be fair. I'd be up for maybe upgrading eventually into something like that.
When you've got your new home.
Yes. Well, the funny thing is, we looked at all these houses and then we thought, you know what, we're just going to stay where we are. I think it was really. Jonathan doesn't know yet, but it was good. It was good seeing the places, but I just thought we're not quite in the position yet to do it. Wait till my bedtime stories, Fat Trevor.
It's not the best time, is it? It's a bit everything's a bit. 2020's not being kind to the world, is it?
Yeah, certainly not so far.
Some of the funniest Instagram comments I've heard of people going, 2020, we hate you, basically because they're all. And these are people in mansions in Hollywood, so if it's hard for them, what about the rest of us?
Oh, I know, that's the funny thing. Now, I would like to make a quick apology to our listeners, because we never had a stream on Sunday night. But we had a very, very busy weekend and busy end of last week.
It's nice to have a rest.
Yeah, and I just thought I was so tired, I wouldn't be able to give a good effort and a good performance. And we want to make sure that on the show we do our very best.
Good race, though. It was a good race. I enjoyed the race. Something is annoying me, unusually, because obviously that never happens. Is that people, especially the 5 Live people are now irritating me, even though they're the only people I can listen to it live on. Because they're going on about, it's so dominant. Oh, Mercedes, no one will be watching because Mercedes is so good now. We've got to stop this. And I'm like, and then they came up with the stupidest analogy ever. They go, it's like watching Usain Bolt run the 100 and 200 metres. No one could beat him either. And I'm thinking, yeah, and you're using that as an excuse for no one watching. Usain Bolt saved athletics.
Yeah.
Literally saved. No one was watching athletics. Usain Bolt started dominating, and athletics was suddenly this. They wanted to see this powerhouse obliterate the opposition, and I feel the same way about Mercedes. Watching Hamilton disappear into the distance, I go, wow, it's amazing. It's not, I'm bored because there's no fight for the title. Only one person can win the title and one team, right? That's all that can happen. That's one battle. There are 20 drivers. This is the problem with the TV coverage. They've been treating it like there's only one battle, the battle for the title. There's no fighting. Yeah, there is. There's been tons of fighting. And this race last weekend was a prime example of it. But this time they actually were showing the battles. They were showing the overtaking at the Hungaroring, which never happens. And they would do it. They were fighting. They were battling each other. They were bashing into each other. It was brilliant. Yeah. But all they can moan about, the speed, this is so fast. Yeah, it is. It's great, isn't it? It's because Mercedes has done the best job.
Yeah.
You can't stick an anchor on him and go, well, there you go, try now, mate.
In 92 and 93, it was pretty dominant. Like Mansell won the first 5 races on the trot. And he was one of the first drivers, I think, to do that. Yeah. In 1992. And then, of course, you had that epic race in Monaco where Senna won. And that was the thing.
Ferrari, another thing that's bugged me is they keep talking about how Toto Wolff has set up this team amazingly. I'm sorry, who set up the team? Do you know? Was it Toto Wolff? I don't think it was. Who set up the team? You? Who's the managing director of F1 at the moment?
Ross Brawn. It was
Ross Brawn. And he set up the team, didn't he? He set it up as Brawn. He set it up as Mercedes. He put all the things that they're talking about the difference, the reason why Mercedes is so dominant, so good, and they're able to do this amazing job of pushing the car to even greater heights, is because of the way, the ethos of that company when it was set up by Ross Brawn. What was the last team to be that dominant before Red Bull?
Ferrari.
Who set that up?
Oh, it was Ross Brawn.
Oh, it was Ross Brawn. Funny that. It's funny how that comes. And then Ross Brawn set up Brawn GP, which was dominant, and then they set up Mercedes, and when it all came together, it was dominant. Yeah. But it's great that Toto Wolff set that team up. It's fantastic. Why don't they shut up?
It's going to be.
They just need to stop talking. I talk too much, but at least it's not codswallop like that.
Hamilton said that although all the races this year have not been done under massively high temperatures, and he reckons that under cold conditions the Mercedes
they'll be even better.
But they're not so sure about the hot weather conditions. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I think he is looking pretty dominant, to be fair.
He's going to be
out of that. But you never know. He could spin off. There could be reliability.
Oh, absolutely. But that's not my focus. I like to see that dominance because it's kind of impressive. But then there's the racing, which is real, not artificial. Though, I mean, they're moaning about DRS. They're moaning about DRS, these people. These are the people that were moaning that it wasn't close enough, it's too hard to keep up with people and overtake. And were applauding DRS when it came in. And now, after 5-6 years, they've realised how artificial it is. Yeah. Which is the point of the 2021-22 car. The new design of car is to allow the cars to be closer, not to stop the team making a better car, but to have aerodynamics that work well even when they're racing closely. You know, that's brilliant. That's kind of like you can do something with that. But this idea that you've got to handicap a team because they're too good. If I was Mercedes and they started that malarkey, I'd be going, well, buy them.
Yeah.
We can't show how good the Mercedes brand is by being better because you are stopping us. We'll use another kind of advertising. And they'll go, and I'll stop making the engines, so all the best engines in the field will be gone, and then they'll be going, but, and I'd let Formula One die, if that's the idea. Honestly, I'm that fed up with it.
Shut that down.
Don't go. I forgive you.
But
you know that's. I am getting so sick and tired of them of the moaning.
That's I was going to say we're sponsored by.
No, Vettel doesn't want. Go on YouTube and look up Look up. You got Sebastian Vettel. You got, I think it's Bottas, and you've got Hamilton, and they're being asked. It's only like a 2-minute video, and they're being asked about reverse grids. Bottas went, or whoever the third one is, I don't think it's a good idea. You know, no, it was Leclerc, and he says, I don't think it's a good idea, really. I don't think it's the way to go. Hamilton went, oh, no, I don't know who came up with that silly idea. Vettel said, what did you say? Hamilton just looked at him and ignored him, and Vettel said, I think it's a load of bullshit. Hamilton looks across and says, he said it better than me. No, Vettel doesn't like it either. It's a stupid idea. It is a stupid idea. Oh, you're fast, it's great. We'll put you at the back. Huh?
Yeah, no.
Again, you just go, oh, so it's not racing anymore then. Bye. I'm off. I'm going to go swim.
It's maybe okay for smaller formula and smaller series, like touring cars and other stuff, which is a bit more fun. You know, it's not seen as world championship racing, but when you're at the top echelons of sport, it needs to be done by merit. So if you're fastest, you go first, you know, or you go in pole position.
I quite like, I mean, the way the British touring car does it, the big difference is it's not the only thing they do.
Yeah.
You know, they'll have a proper qualifying and a proper grid. I've never been quite sure about the weight penalties in touring cars. Yeah, it's all, I mean, again, a bit artificial, but whatever. You know, artificially slowing the fast cars down, I've never got that. But, all right, it's still quite fun racing, and you still see the most consistent and fast people doing well, you know. But then the second race is a sort of it's based on the first race, isn't it?
Yeah.
So again, that's merit, and then the third race, it's a sprint, isn't it? And it's a sprint with the first 10 in reverse order. No, not in reverse order. It's random. It's random. So there's a bit of pot luck in there, and it mixes it up a bit. But it's not that you're in 20th. It's only the top 10, and it's one of 3 sets of points in that day.
Yeah.
So it's got less effect. So you know, it's different. It's not the same. It's not just that it's not the highest level, as it were. It's done better. A bit more thought's been put into it. Whereas all these other things are just knee jerks. Yeah. Knee jerk reactions to what? What are they trying to do? Trying to what they're going to say? Last place matters. Is that going to be the new thing?
No, that's the thing.
Williams matter. Should be in first. It's unequal. It's racing. Do better.
I would like to ask our listeners as well a quick question. We had tried a couple of live races and we commentated on them, and it was good, but it's hard work because you've got to really. You can't really enjoy the race because you're standing there kind of watching everything that's going on and trying to make sure that you say it correctly and so on. So we're not. I mean, I think it probably worked, and we got some quite reasonable reviews. I know Jonathan was listening to it and thought it was quite good. I know that Anne was listening and quite enjoyed it.
And I didn't pay him, did you?
No, that was the thing. So what we were kind of thinking about, is it something we should try again or continue on with it, or should we just do maybe a highlight show? Because what we're trying to think about is, should we maybe do another show instead of a Sunday night, maybe perhaps on a Monday night, or on a different day, and then we can talk about the ups and downs of the races, and because we'll have a bit of time both to have seen it by that point, and then bring it, go from there. Or what do you think, Andrew?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think I like the idea of it being on the highlights, over the highlights more, because for a start, I'll be able to see it better. I'm not saying, but also it gives an alternative, to.
And how do you think we do it? Do you think we should have it? Because I think we can get that. I wonder if we can get that through the PlayStation Live. If
you can get Channel 4, you can get the highlights. I don't know whether it's you can get it over the internet. You can either watch it live or you can watch it later. It's on there for 6 days.
Yeah. So maybe we could do that, because I'm just thinking it'd be easier for me to watch it on my other screen, and then we could actually live stream it, because in effect we could go over it maybe slightly later that day, unless they allow you to see it live on More 4.
Well, I think other people would have to have it on
at the same time
with us.
Right, I see. Right, okay.
I don't think we could stream it to them, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, we can't stream it to them, but as long as we can see it, that's the main thing.
Yeah, we'll be able to see it.
And see it done live. Yeah,
And then we get to talk over the adverts.
Yeah, which would be we can make fun of those.
I mean, it's unfortunate because DC's pretty good. The guy that's with him is Webbo. He's excellent as well. And then everybody else is just a waste of space.
So maybe we could try the highlights. Of course, some of the races, some of the days when it's like Canada, or when the racing is later on, it's like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. It's going to be about midnight before you get it, or 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock.
Yeah, we'd have to do it at another time, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
So then it would make sense to do it on another day. I mean, I suppose if we're doing it on Podbean or on something people can look at later, if people want to, they can choose to play it while they're.
Yeah, that's true.
Whenever they're watching it, if they're streaming it, So
yeah, and then we can just get the banter of it. Yeah, and that's the kind of thing. So we'll have a good think about that, and see what's the best way forward. And we do apologise for not being there on Sunday night. We needed a break.
You all got what you deserved. Get lost.
Next week, I'm actually going to be taking a little day or two's off. I've got a few holidays I need to take, so I'm going to be. But we'll be back in 2 weeks' time for sure. I'm going to do something at the weekend.
Don't forget to check your eyesight before you drive anywhere. It's very important. One good idea is to drive to Barnard's Castle and do it like that. Just think, your eyes might not be working after months of not going on a holiday.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. But I might try and do a video before I go. So I've got something to put up maybe on Thursday or earlier in the week before we head away and do all of that. But now, of course, we've got our website, which is hughhattrick.com, and you can go on that and see all our latest videos that are on our channel. And it'd be fantastic if you can let everybody know about the channel and subscribe and give us as many likes as you can. That would be fantastic. That because there's always lots of things that we're trying to cover. Obviously, we've got Jonathan Sutherland, who is sometimes with us as a kind of extra co-host, and Andrew Dixon. And hopefully Andrew will be joining us at some point in the very near future on a Thursday night show.
It's almost like we've got a pit lane reporter in Jonathan, because occasionally we throw to him. Throw to him is the right term. And we've got the chief F1 writer, because he's got no technology and he should write something down, doesn't he, Andrew?
Yeah.
Doesn't believe in electricity, this newfangled stuff.
Yeah. And
Candlelight.
If he was here today, he would be letting everyone know that the Jim Clark Motorsport Museum has officially reopened.
Hey!
So at the weekend, so it's back open again, and it's limited to 20 people, I think, at a time in there. But it is open, and there's going to be a lot of social distancing, but
nothing.
It should be pretty
social distancing. Yeah. They've got rid of the one-way system in our local Tesco's, and I only found this out because I was walking using what I thought was the one-way system, and there's people walking at me, looking at me, like, what are you doing? And I just thought, oh God. I feel like coughing on people.
That's it.
I was just going, die.
They'll run away.
Well, they might get punished. Then we can talk about Vettel. Everyone else here keeps talking about Vettel. There was another report today about Vettel and Toto Wolff again. How many times does Toto Wolff have to say he's got nothing to do with it? How many times? It's almost like, we've not said anything for 10 seconds. Stick a stupid, useless report linking Vettel with that mouse. The mouse, just there, the fly. Oh, this paint. Vettel moving to, I mean, come on. So there was one thing, I'll put a comment on one of the videos, because this idiot had put, can I read, actually, I'm going to find it and read it out. Oh, wrong thing. Wrong place. Oh, thing. What's going on here? Behave now. Apparently you're live.
Yes, exactly. We are live.
Me.
Yeah.
Right.
But, Yeah,
it was a thing saying Vettel talked with Aston Martin and it looks like he will sign a 2-year contract. We will know in a couple of days from 7 level. This is any thoughts? So this person had put. There's lots of replies now. Oh dear. Who says that? Is he just? This is funny. Is he just singing at Aston Martin? Nobody mentioned a seat yet. So somebody puts. There's a couple of comments about singing because he obviously went signing, but he got it wrong. Where's me? Okay. Stroll's seat is at risk, says somebody called Hugo Correa 3 days ago. Perez has a 2-year contract. Well, we've talked about this.
We have, but I still think that it might be the end of Stroll's time. I just get the feeling that...
Really?
Yeah.
See, that's different to saying that it's fact. So I put, so you think Lawrence Stroll will sack his son from the team he bought so his son could race in F1? Not so sure myself. No amount of German opera is worth doing that. See, bringing in the singing. German opera. Vettel singing.
But he might...
Nobody got that.
This
is the reply. He didn't bought, obviously, he didn't bought F1 team to his son race. If Stroll just stays there without results, you think his father won't put him to free driver or put him in other team? So, my reply was short and to the point. Yes, that is exactly what I am saying. It's just, Lawrence Stroll has spent the whole of his son's career paying for advantages. When he was in the lower formulae, he was paying for Williams' wind tunnel time.
That's right.
For the team to give his son. I mean, he put massive amounts of money to Williams for Stroll to go in the team. He's a paid driver. He bought a team. I mean, I'm not just saying what you're saying is wrong. I just can't see him doing all that. And he may have seen a business opportunity in buying Aston Martin, this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, he's doing it for his kid.
And I think it is hard to make money out of Formula One, to do it properly, because a lot of teams are on the bread. Like, yes, they get a lot of sponsorship in, but the costs are so huge that
Aston Martin, however,
yeah,
you can't do it for money. I mean, there's how many of the most successful ones are the ones like Peter Sauber or what was his name? That Bernardi, Australian fella. I loved him. I nearly got his name there. Never shaved.
Is he still alive, that guy?
I don't know. He had an airline, didn't he?
Yeah.
But he was a proper Formula One nut. And the stuff they managed to do, they were definitely a team that made the best of the resources. Paul Stoddart, yes.
Yeah,
I loved him. He was awesome because he was I'm honest, he's an Australian businessman, probably not. But he was true to Formula One. It wasn't about, it's like Frank Williams, he was there to race. None of this messing about politics nonsense, racing. Maybe Lawrence Stroll's caught that bug. I don't know. No. But, he can make money out of Aston Martin because that brand is astonishing. Even though it's not making much money, the brand is right at the top of its game,
And probably... They've got a 4x4. They've got a new SUV, and actually that looks quite good. But that'll sell. You can imagine in Dubai and all these places. They want their Bentley Bentegas, they want their Aston Martins, they want their Range Rovers. These are the kind of people who will buy more than one car. They'll have one of everything that looks, that gives them the kind of credibility.
These SUVs are the all-round car, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if you're on a British road with speed bumps and all this kind of stuff, you need something like that. To put up with the punishment. And they're deliberately making the roads impossible to drive down in a normal car and then going, why are you buying SUVs? Because we need something that can take the crashing punishment.
But that's what you would have. If you're a Hollywood celebrity, I mean, yes, they all pretend, they say they've got a Toyota Prius to drive.
Right.
But if you look in their garage, you know, it's going to be a Maserati Levante, it's going to be a Bentley Bentayga, it's going to be at least one Range Rover in there.
Or if they're a really good American, they'd have a Velociraptor. I'd have a Velociraptor. There's the Raptor, which is what Clarkson drove up a mountain.
Yeah.
Look. And there's the Velociraptor.
I saw the Raptor in Berwick. A new Raptor.
Really? A Raptor? Not just an F-150, because the guy had an F-150 around the corner. And it's like...
A proper Ford Raptor pickup, but one for the UK in right-hand drive. And it was nice. It looked like one of these dirt rally vehicles, you know, that could just...
Was it on? Did they turn it on?
No, I was driving past it.
See, that's if you watch any videos of the Raptor or the Velociraptor, it sounds like a NASCAR. You've got a NASCAR that can drive over your house. Perfect. That's what, you know, I prefer V12s and straight sixes to most V8s, but I like that one. That's like a TBR V8. It's going, you know, it's like the hounds of hell. I love you. Love your leg. And then it drives over you. Brilliant.
Aye. No, it's quite funny. So no, they had one of those, and it was nice. I did enjoy watching that. Howard Jonathan has joined us. What's an Aston Martin
finally
a month on Motability?
I think you probably have to donate one of your legs that still works.
You'd be owing the DWA 5k a month. So well, you know, this is a true story, by the way. In the old days, when Motability, you know, they were always trying to get prestige brands. They were trying to delve into the bigger brands.
All right.
And Maserati did a deal.
Hold on. The Motability people were trying to get Motability, Ferraris, Maseratis, whatever.
And BMWs, because before you never get a BMW on Motability, right? It was really hard. It was only very kind of basic cars. But then they expanded it to all these different, any company I think who pretty much wanted to be involved. Yeah. So Maserati did it. And similarly, there was a deal. I'm not sure if it was on the Levante or if it was on the, no, it was the Quattroporte. I think it was either a Quattroporte or one. I think that was the time that was the cheapest car they had. I don't think they had anything that was smaller than that. And similarly, it was no deposit down. And you could get your Maserati on Motability. And of course, when you're on Motability, you don't have to pay for any of it. If you get a higher end payment, that's it covered. So if you just checked around a wee bit, they only did about 7 or something in the year. This is what I heard anyway. But you could basically have a Maserati and on Motability.
Can you imagine how the Sun and the Mail would respond to that?
Yeah.
Lamps driving Maserati. Yeah, that would be amazing.
The guy with the duff leg, you know, or the bad back, and he's got.
It's bad enough to get photographs of Kerry Katona getting out of a Range Rover when she's apparently gone bust. Yeah. This would be like, you know, oh man, the Levantes. I was born in Stelvio. Is the Stelvio? Is it? Hold on a minute. Wait a minute. Is he just complimented an Alfa Romeo?
He has. And
is he feeling all right? You okay?
I think the Levante looks actually quite nice. I sat in one at Goodwood a couple of years ago, and I really liked it. It's quite different, but I think it shares a platform with the Jeep Grand Cherokee, and that. So John saying equality. For but yeah. But similarly now, if you want something really good, you've got to put probably about $2,000-3,000 down to get a decent car on Motability.
Now, Harry Metcalf did a review of the Maserati Levante, and he quite liked it. But it has the same problem they all have, is that they're trying to make it look like a Maserati. And it's an off-roader, and you just can't. Yeah. It's not possible. You can't. There's only been one off-roader made by one of these prestige sports manufacturers that has successfully managed it, and that was a Lamborghini.
Yes, I've seen one of those.
LM002. And they did that by throwing the rule book out and going, right, let's make the stupidest looking tank ever, painting it red, making it about the size of Wales. You know, like everything's either this is the size of Wales or some measure You know. So half the size of Wales would be a Range Rover. Yeah. This was the size of Wales with Snowdon on top.
Aye.
And with a Countach engine in the front. And I think it had a 260-something litre fuel tank.
Yeah. 100 miles.
It could do a ton off-road. It was the fastest off-road in the world. It could literally do a ton off-road, no problem. Yeah. What a car. I love that car. But that works because instead of going, let's try to make it look like a Lamborghini sports car, like they've done with the Urus, or what they call it, the urinal. They just made it look like a mad Maserati off-road. Lamborghini off-road. Our off-roaders look like this instead of, oh, we've got to have the corporate badge on the front. It's like big box, big wheels, big mad people. Make some for Colonel Gaddafi. He had a few, apparently.
Aye. No, it was quite a thing. Now, on a completely different run, it is still cars, to be fair.
Is it?
We might be changing our car. You getting
a Ferrari? Is that why you're wearing a...
No, sadly, I wish it was. But it's a Dacia.
Oh, you're getting what do they call Dacia these days? Or Dacia, I used to call them back in the day.
Yeah, the Dacia Duster. Well, we are looking at a Sandero diesel.
Hey, you get a diesel!
But I'll tell you why, because Renault and Dacia are throwing the cars away at the moment. And they're giving away, like, you know, if you buy a new car, it's like 3 months free. They give you first 3 payments down and no deposit. So we're looking at ours with, they're giving £400 deposit contribution. And they're giving us way more than what our car is worth. And then it's yeah. I know James May would be proud, exactly. And basically, we can hand our car, throw away our car to them, say, there you are, you can have it, with 300 quid. That's it. And
you'll have to do a report on what you think of the fact that it's basically a Renault.
Yeah, an old Clio, but it gets quite a good NCAP crash test, and they're actually
they went nuts on that, didn't they, Renault? They got the first 5-star car in the Laguna.
Yeah.
They went kind of crazy
because it's lighter than the current Clio. The economy is amazing. I had a Logan for a while, and that was a great car.
1.5
turbo diesel with 90 horsepower.
DCI.
Yeah,
right.
But you get 80 to the gallon. 80 to the gallon on a long run.
You'll have to tell me if you actually do, because...
Well, I had 73 with Jonathan as a witness coming back up the M1 from Company Car in Action.
That was leaving him. He'll say anything for a bit.
No, it was genuinely. We got from Duns to Millbrook and back on a tank full of fuel. We did not have to fill up. And that was about 700 odd miles by the time it was done. So it was, and that was on about 55 litres. It was absolutely mad.
Really good.
But it was good, and that was going at motorway speeds. I was sitting at 70 mile an hour, so it was amazing. And this is lighter and slightly smaller.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because you're paying for a Renault, but you're paying Dacia prices, or Dacia.
Yeah.
So that's good. That makes sense. That's really good.
It's only 2 years old on an 18 plate with 10,000 miles on the clock.
Wow.
And they're giving away 2 free services as well.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like any other deal we were going to do. We would have to pay probably, another couple of grand to get.
I knew people that used to do that on motorbikes. I had a pal of mine that had an RG 350 LC, for anyone that knows what that is. Ant, make some comments about the Yamaha RD 350 LC, which he was running out of petrol, so he sat close behind the truck. Of course, the truck had no idea he was there, because they can't see a car when they're that close, and these are still, mad bike. But I think he got his best fuel economy from that smoker.
Yeah, because he wouldn't have to there'd be no airflow at all, wouldn't it? Or
exactly. No, we've just been sucked along.
Yeah. So
He's from South London though, so
hopefully we'll pick it up maybe next week. We're probably about 90% of the way there, I think. So we'll see how it goes, and that's rid of a Clio and then into a Dacia again.
Just remember, right? Okay, It's not a Williams, so you don't have to drive it like that. Yes, streamlining. That's what he was doing.
No, the Dacia, surprisingly, the Dacia actually handled pretty well. It was not a bad car because we had a Hyundai i30 Estate before I got the Logan, and the Dacia out-handled it massively, far, far better behind the wheel. So I think this should hopefully be all right. I've not heard that they're terrible.
Cool.
They're all quite reasonable. So we can.
As I say, James May likes them. AC off.
In 33-degree heat to save 1
miles per gallon.
It's supposed to be 10%. I think you'll find it's 7 miles, 7 mpg. But
I'm leaving that to you two to argue about.
The thing is, we came up. We were just south of Newcastle, and the warning light for the fuel light came on, and Jonathan said, "Oh, you have no problem at all getting back up to it."
You believed him?
No, I think we ended up stopping just before Berwick or something. Or we managed to get another half an hour or so, which is not bad going. But I thought I'd have to.
I mean, there's an Esso garage just as you go into Eyemouth. I know that. I think it's Esso anyway.
Oh yes, yeah. No. But
I quite liked Eyemouth. They got a nice chippy.
Yeah, it's one of them.
And we saw some nice seals hanging about in the harbour, looking at us. Going,
don't use the public toilets in the car park because they warn you for drugs and all in terms of the's needles and all sorts of things you'll find.
This was 10 years ago. It's 2010.
It's probably still from 10 years ago.
But 56. You can always get a litre in the pipe.
Yeah, that seems really good for that. It must have had a huge pipe going from the tank because you could I put 57 litres.
Is it the one your wife has to use when she's driving for the Institute of Advanced Motorists?
Well, she doesn't want to get it. Well, she doesn't want to get it. She wants anything else. But she wants anything but a Dacia, and I want anything except, and that's what I would like first and foremost. So I think it'll be me that'll be driving it. So we'll see how we get on. But it'll be good fun. I love a cheap car, and I love a car that's cheap to run as well. So it's going to be quite
Craig Ferguson, who's the Scottish man that's moved to America and does a chat show, comedian.
Oh, I don't know.
Craig Ferguson. He's quite funny. He's very Scottish, but he lives in America. He's a good pal of Peter Capaldi, apparently. They've done stuff together, haven't they?
All right.
And he was making a joke about having many fights because he's married to a Scotch woman. And I just thought, I'm not entirely sure you're going to win that argument. And you may want to grow your hair over the bruising. That's all I'm saying. Safely from 300 miles away,
Yeah. Well, on that note, we've been on for nearly an hour and 7 minutes, which is fantastic.
Is there anything we've missed? Is Grosjean or Magnussen going to leave? Will Perez get to go somewhere? Is Albon any good?
I think he is. He's been downplayed a bit. He did finish 5th, to be fair.
Did you hear Russell? I mean, I was so disappointed that Williams screwed up Russell's race, basically, by getting the tyres wrong.
Yeah.
And because he's 12th, he qualified pure pace on 12th, so good. And then he ended up second from last.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, come on. Got to get a break. And Claire won't let him leave. She's told him straight, so she can tell people off when she has a mind. Mr. John. And she told him, no, you're not going to Mercedes until your contract's finished, mate. So there you go. He's
got another year or two there, is he? Another year in Williams. That's quite good because it helps that he's there a longer period of time. And
the car's good. It's doing well,
Yeah, no, definitely.
Will Raikkonen still be there next year? That's another one that's been making the rounds. Is he? He said he's only leaving when he's not having fun anymore.
Yeah.
Last year he said that. Is he having fun? Who knows?
Well, he was 20th on the grid in Hungary. Yeah. So I don't know how much fun it is to be right at the very back. Although he did finish quick. I mean,
he finished well.
Yeah, so he did come up the field, to be fair. So no, we'll have to see. Well, will we try and pencil?
Oh, and Lando Norris, he had those pains in the chest when he was braking.
Oh yeah.
They were going, oh, what is it? Is he going to die? No, he just bruised himself in the first race because he's not driven for a long time and he's only ickle. So he just bruised his chest. So he's getting better now and he's all right. He's on painkillers, drugs, and that's him. Lando Sainz, he's happy. Still happy he's going to Ferrari, even though the McLaren's quicker. And there's been a massive rearrangement in Ferrari. Matteo Binotto is not being sacked. He's done the rearrangement and he's reinstated a hierarchical system that was taken away by the old big boss who died, if you remember.
That's right, Marciano.
And he did a great job at the time, but it can be great on a night out. Yeah, we've heard. It's obvious there's some problems in the team, but I think that the thing that's going to save them is that they're sticking behind Binotto instead of sacking him, because it's like back in the day with I don't follow football at all, but I do remember that with the England football team, every time they lost, sack him, and it was like, well, this is not the way to get behind someone. This is not the way to help them make changes and to fix things. This is the way to never get anywhere, because you think that the new guy comes in with a magic wand and goes, boing. It doesn't work that way. They've got to change a lot of things. So, I think that's pretty good. Though the one video thing, Formula World, I just do my head in the way it pronounces things. Luca de Montezemolo. And what this fella does, this is my last little rant before we finish. Luca, it's like he's been practicing trying to sound like he can say Italian names properly. So he sounds like he's chewing on a brick. Like in The Lord of the Rings, where they screw up everything, absolutely everything, from the beginning to the end. And one of the things they screw up, and people take the mick out of all the time, he's a mad professor. He's a mad Italian professor. I knew one of them, Giuseppe Zagotto. And they used to say Mordor, because that's just wrong. They can't say Mordor. They have to sound like they're saying another language. Well, this is what this fellow does with Italian names. Matteo Binotto, like that. But then he says, Luca de Montezemolo. And I want to punch the screen, because it's a phonetic language. Luca de Montezemolo. It's really easy. Luca de Montezemolo. You just say all the E's are all the O's are It's really easy. And none of them can say Giovanni or Giorgio. Or it's like Giorgio. What? I'll just stop trying. Just do it wrong, all of them, and be consistent. Or do it right, because it's not hard. Same with Welsh. Welsh is the same. Welsh is easy. It's dead easy. It's just phonetic. It's just not English. Duh. There's no consonants or vowels in it. Yeah, there are. It's just they're not English vowels. Duh.
No.
It's not saying there's no English in French. No shit, Sherlock. Really?
No, that's the thing. Well, on that note, as we've been
Rouge
going
rant.
over an hour, there you go. Then we can end with Rouge Rant. It's been fantastic doing another show.
This mozzarella. Get to mozzarella.
You've been listening and watching the Cars and Race Driver Show with me, Hugh Hattrick, and my very special co-host, Andrew Muller.
Drew. That's me, bye.
And I'll do the final phrase if you like. It's time to drive fast and try not to crash. Take care and we'll see you all soon.
Bye.